5 times Earth nearly erased itself. The seas empty, the skies darken, and life folds inward. Coral cities vanish beneath cold, starving water. Forests choke, reefs collapse, continents crack apart. Then somehow a few old bloodlines remain. Not unchanged, but unbroken through impossible ages. They cross ice, fire, poison, impact, and darkness. Before dinosaurs, before trees, some were already here. After the asteroid, they were still moving. Tonight, we follow the survivors through deep time. The fossil record marks 5 great biological collapses. Each rewrote the planet, then left survivors to rebuild. No single modern species simply walked through all 5, but some lineages began before the first and endure. The first disaster comes in freezing silence. Around 444 million years ago, oceans cool and sea levels fall. Shallow seas, once crowded with life, drain away. Many marine communities never return in the same form. Much later, another crisis arrives in pulses. The late Devonian weakens reefs and empties ancient seas. The exact causes remain debated. Climate shifts, ocean anoxia, and ecological disruption likely combined. Then comes the worst-known catastrophe. The end Permian erases most species from Earth's records. About 252 million years ago, life nearly breaks. Hotter seas, acidifying waters, and oxygen loss spread widely. Recovery is slow and strange. Ecosystems simplify, then cautiously experiment again. The Triassic world rises from that ruin, but another extinction closes the door near 201 million years ago. Volcanic upheaval is a leading suspect. Enormous eruptions likely drove climate shocks and ocean stress. Dinosaurs seized their opening afterward, but survival, even then, never belongs to giants alone. The 5th great blow is the famous one. An asteroid strikes 66 million years ago. Firestorms, darkness, and food chain collapse follow. Non-avian dinosaurs disappear, while a battered world resets again. So what kind of creature survives all that? Usually not the flashiest, fastest, or largest. Survival favors flexibility, wide ranges, and luck. It also favors bodies already tested by changing seas. That is why many great survivors are marine. Oceans can kill, but they also offer refuges. Depth matters. Broad diets matter. Reproducing in many places matters too. And one survivor still patrols beaches at night. Its armor seems older than imagination. Horseshoe crabs appear by the Ordovician. Their relatives were already scuttling before the first great crash. They are not true crabs at all. They belong with chelicerates, closer to spiders and scorpions. Their shape feels almost stubbornly ancient. Even Pennsylvanian fossils can look strikingly familiar. But that familiarity can mislead us. The lineage persisted. Species and ecosystems still changed. On a moonlit shoreline, females heave onto sand. Males crowd behind, clasping shells with hooked limbs. Eggs vanish beneath wet grains. Waves pull back. The beach keeps the secret. This ritual helps explain their endurance. Spawn in huge numbers, and some young will always escape disaster. The larvae hatch as tiny trilobite-shaped drifters. Tides carry them into nursery shallows. Year after year, molt after molt, they grow. Time seems built into their shell. They survived the end Permian somehow. They survived the asteroid too. Through each apocalypse, coastlines kept returning. So did the patient rhythm of tides. Yet their modern danger is not volcanic. It comes from us. That is the irony of deep time. A lineage older than trees can still be fragile. Another ancient survivor moves beneath darker water. Its skeleton is cartilage, not bone. Sharks begin at least 450 million years ago. The earliest evidence may be only scales. Scientists still debate those first traces. True sharks or shark-like ancestors, the record whispers instead of shouting. Later fossils become unmistakable. Fins, teeth, and hydrodynamic bodies take shape in ancient seas. Sharks are not one design repeated forever. They are a whole evolutionary strategy. Some crush shellfish on seafloors, some slice fish in open water, some prowl rivers, some glide to abyssal darkness. Diversity is part of their secret. When one habitat fails, another may still hold. Broad diets matter too. A generalist can outlast a specialist when ecosystems unravel. At the end Cretaceous, many giants vanish. Sharks remain, bruised but present. Their world does not stay easy afterward, but enough lineages endure to keep the story going. If you dive through Ordovician shallows, Permian seas, and modern oceans, shark history links them all. They are not immortal. They are adaptable. And adaptability often looks less dramatic than power. It looks like options. Another survivor carries its house on its back. Chamber by chamber, it rises in a spiral. Nautiloids emerged roughly 500 million years ago. They are among the oldest cephalopod lineages known. Once, more than 10,000 species filled ancient seas. Today, only a handful of chambered nautiluses remain. Their shell is a floating archive. Each chamber marks growth, buoyancy, and survival. The animal lives in the newest room. Older chambers stay sealed, gas-filled, and useful. Compared with squid, they seem almost restrained. But ancient does not mean primitive failure. They survived extinctions that erased ammonites and countless others. Their lineage crossed every great boundary the oceans raised. Why them? Scientists point to deep habitats, slower metabolisms, and ways of life that avoided some surface chaos. That does not make them invincible. It makes them lucky in survivable places. If horseshoe crabs feel armored, nautiluses feel measured. Survival can be speed, but it can also be patience. So far, the pattern is unmistakable. Ancient survivors often endure where change arrives unevenly. Reefs may collapse, coasts may drown, yet pockets of life remain. Would you last one day in these vanished seas? Tell me below. Which survivor amazes you most so far? The armored crawler, the silent hunter, or the spiral drifter? And if deep time has a favorite trick, it is surprise, because the next survivor looks almost unimpressive. Buried in mud, it seems easy to overlook, yet its lineage reaches back to the Cambrian. Lingulate brachiopods are not glamorous survivors. They live in tubes or burrows, filtering the water quietly. Fossils from the Ordovician resemble living ones surprisingly well. That is why they are called living fossils. But again, the phrase needs caution. It does not mean evolution stopped. It means the basic body plan worked. Sometimes successful designs need little visible reinvention. While giant reptiles rose and fell above, these animals kept filtering water. Small lives can outlast grand empires. They remind us survival is often quiet. Persistence rarely announces itself. And they reveal something else. Extinction is selective, but not always intuitive. Strength does not guarantee safety. Familiarity does not guarantee weakness. The earth does not grade creatures by charisma. It tests them by conditions. Some lineages survive because they spread widely. Others survive because they lived simply enough. Some endure by eating many things. Others endure by needing very little. Some find refuge in depth. Others cling to coastlines that return after chaos. Marine extinctions dominate the Big Five record. That is why many famous survivors come from the sea. Seawater changes slowly compared with air. Sometimes that lag buys time. Depth creates stacked worlds inside one ocean. Surface disaster does not strike every layer equally. A coastline can fail completely. An offshore refuge may still function. That refuge might be colder, it might be darker, but it can remain alive. Scientists also warn against neat survivor myths. Fossil records are patchy and lineages transform. So when we say a creature survived every extinction, we mean its lineage, not a single unchanged species. That distinction matters. Deep time preserves continuity, not sameness. The horseshoe crab of today is fully modern. It simply belongs to an ancient family. The same is true for sharks. Their dynasty survives even as many members vanished. And nautiluses are the last shelled heirs. Once crowded cephalopod halls have fallen silent. That loneliness is part of their wonder. Survivors often stand for armies already lost. And always, chance stands nearby. Survival is biology, meeting luck. A volcanic winter does not negotiate. An asteroid does not care. Yet somewhere, a shoreline stays wet. Somewhere, a trench stays livable. Somewhere, eggs hatch. Somewhere, a scavenger still finds food. That is how worlds restart, not with abundance, but with holdouts. The survivors are not merely leftovers. They are the first drafts of the next age. After the end Permian, reefs do not instantly recover. Food webs simplify, then slowly elaborate again. After the asteroid, forests burn and skies darken. Still, sheltered habitats keep enough life moving. In those thin beginnings, survivor lineages matter immensely. They carry workable solutions across broken worlds. Armor matters if predators change. Flexible feeding matters if prey disappears. Broad geography matters when continents shift. Reproductive resilience matters when populations crash. None of this guarantees survival. It only improves the odds. Think of deep time as a storm of storms. The lineages still here learned not one answer. They learned several lessons, spread widely, adapt or endure. Even now, these old lineages are changing. Evolution never truly clocks out. Modern horseshoe crabs are not Ordovician animals unchanged. Modern sharks are not copies of ancient seas. Modern nautiluses face pressures their ancestors never knew. Coastal industry, overfishing, and warming seas are new tests. Ancient success offers no modern immunity. Surviving volcanoes does not guarantee surviving people. That may be the strangest lesson here. The creatures that outlived continents can still meet our restraint. When paleontologists study these lineages, they are reading persistence itself. Not perfection, but persistence. Fossils are not just graves, they are receipts for survival. A shell in Ordovician rock, a tooth from a banished sea, a body plan continued. Across hundreds of millions of years, those clues connect. The pattern becomes almost unbelievable. 5 mass extinctions should sound like a final answer. Instead, life keeps leaving footnotes. Sometimes those footnotes were shells. Sometimes they wear teeth. Sometimes they hide in mud. Sometimes they return with the tide. We usually tell Earth's history through extinctions. Maybe we should also tell it through returns. The beach return of horseshoe crabs. The silent return of sharks after empty seas. The patient return of nautiloids in deeper water. The unnoticed return of brachiopods in mud. Survival in deep time is often recurrence. Life finds a way back into the frame. Perhaps that is why these creatures feel uncanny. They make the past look unfinished. Stand beside a spawning horseshoe crab. You are watching an Ordovician echo in moonlight. See a shark vanish into blue water. The Paleozoic is not entirely gone. Watch a nautilus pulse through dim depths. Ancient geometry is still afloat. Notice a brachiopod half buried in sediment. Persistence can be almost invisible. The survivors do not mock extinction. They prove catastrophe is never the whole story. They also humble us. Our species has existed for only a blink. Horseshoe crabs and sharks already had long histories before humans. Nautiloids were ancient before forests thickened on land. These lineages watch continents gather and split. They endured worlds no human eye ever saw. And still they are here, vulnerable and real. Not monsters, not myths, but neighbors. If deep time teaches anything, it teaches proportion. We are new. They are reminders. Reminders that life is resilient but never guaranteed. Reminders that endurance is earned again and again. Which of these ancient survivors would you trust most in a dying world? Tell me below. Subscribe for more journeys into lost worlds. Ring the bell so you do not miss them. Our century is brief and noisy. Earth still remembers older footsteps.